This is a video called No, the Acolyte did not break canon. So chat, are you ready? Are you ready to see or to hear why the Acolyte didn't break canon? I'm excited. You know, maybe I'm open. I'm open. Maybe we've been wrong. Maybe me and the gatekeepers and I, maybe we've been wrong this past year or so. We got some like interesting chapters in here as well. Like he's going into some like different aspects of it. So OSHA and May. So here are the not breaks of canon. Ready? So okay, OSHA and May's creation contradicts Anakin's birth. It ruins Anakin's character. That's one of his claims. That's not how kyber crystal bleeding works. So he's going to defend the kyber crystal bleeding. What else? How can there be fire in spit? Might skip that one. Why did Torben lose control? Okay, I don't even really remember. Again, it's going to be tough, chat, because there's nothing memorable about the Acolyte, and I'm not going to go back and rewatch a show that's not even getting a season 2. Why did Basil stop Soul from killing May? Now, this is something I haven't even seen the biggest shills for the Acolyte be able to defend. Curious about that one. Why was Soul so insistent on recruiting May and OSHA? Because he's probably a PDF file. Probably because he's a groomer. What is this? How can the Coven base burn down if it's made of stuff? Might skip that one. Who the hell cares? Why does May change her allegiance so often? Oh, okay. OSHA shouldn't have survived the crash. Okay. Kiadi Mundy's birthday got changed. We'll definitely have to listen to that one. How the Jedi mistake OSHA and May. Don't care. They shouldn't have shown Yoda and Plagueis. Well, they had to. That was the only way they could. That was the only way Leslie Headland thought she could get a season 2. And outro. Okay, so let's. I'm probably gonna skip around a lot in here. It's a 21-minute video. Probably gonna skip around a little bit here, so bear with me on that. But we should get some good shit in here. Let's check it out. Anyway, what is this? I created none of the. Oh God.
So let me begin this video by just saying
I've never heard of this guy before. Pigpen. I've never heard. Has over 100,000 subscribers. Not great views for the video, but anyway, we'll give it a shot. I've never even heard. Anyone ever heard of this guy? Hashtag list.
So let me begin this video by just saying, I'm not saying you have to like, dislike, love, or hate the Acolyte.
Okay, here we go. Starting off strong, throwing the disclaimers out there. Like this is a J.I. Jacob tactic. I'm not trying to change your mind or anything. I'm not saying you have to like the show, you know, but don't be a toxic whifter. All right.
You're allowed to think whatever you want about the show. I'm only here to debunk the it breaks canon arguments and a few why did a character do this questions that sometimes I think the show explains well, while other times I don't think the show explains very well at all.
Yeah, if you're talking about the why Basil stopped Soul from trying to kill May for absolutely no reason, I'm very curious as to what his explanation for that is. I would love to know because I still don't know.
With that being said, let's just dive into this. Number 1. OSHA and May's creation breaks canon because Anakin Skywalker is the first person to ever been created by the Force. This is never stated anywhere. No reference book, no movie, no show, no book or comic or game says this.
Okay, but it is a very big... Here's my issue. In episode 1, it's very much implied that Anakin's existence, Anakin having no father is a very, very big deal. It's a huge deal. It's a huge fucking deal. So we as the audience are left to think, okay, this is a big deal. So this probably doesn't happen very often, if ever, right? And May and Osha being a virgins as well, it takes away from that. It lessens the significance of what Anakin was doing, of Anakin's character in the prequels. So, like, hypothetically, I don't know why anyone in a million years would ever do this, but hypothetically, if someone watched The Acolyte, like, before watching the movies, watching the prequels, so you would say, oh, virgins, lesbian space witches' daughters. Okay, great. And then you go and you watch the episode 1 where Qui-Gon is talking to the council and talking to Anakin's mother. You're just going to think, oh, this isn't a big deal. This happens all the time. Who cares? Why is this so important? Why is he all of a sudden the chosen one? Why isn't May and Osha the chosen one? Why isn't Osha or May the chosen ones, right? If that's the prophecy, then why aren't they the chosen one? Is Disney trying to make them the chosen one? And then they went and made Rey the chosen one. I don't know. I don't know, man. I don't know. Does anybody know? I sure as shit don't. And is he actually going to use the Plagueis novel to defend the act? A Star Wars Marvel purist, is this guy about to use the Plagueis novel to defend the Acolyte? I might have to go pour myself a drink if he's about to do this.
Movie, no show, no book or comic or game says this. I've seen some people say that the Darth Plagueis novel says this, but one, I don't think it does, and two, even if it did, it's not canon to the current canon.
Oh my God! Here, maybe you should read it, sir. Maybe you should read it. I think it says it. I don't know if it says it or not. And by the way, Anakin's virgins in the Force, it is explained. It is explained in the Plagueis novel. You see, unlike the Acolyte, Darth Plagueis builds upon the prequels. It makes the prequels better. The Acolyte makes the prequels worse. It makes things not make sense. That's why it breaks canon. And of course, it's Wedgens. It's Wedgens. It's not canon. Darth Plagueis was canon before Disney took over. And it did tie into, it was approved by George, and it tied into The Phantom Menace. But we don't want to do that.
It's only canon to Legends. So May and Osha's creation wouldn't be breaking that. Not only this, but Osha and May's births were very different from Anakin's. Anakin was created by the Force itself as a response to Palpatine.
Okay, I don't care.
Number 2.
Let's watch the last little bit here. The point is that it takes away from Anakin's character. It makes Anakin less special. He's the chosen one. It's not the chosen 3. Like, God, Disney butchered. George Lucas says in the Revenge of the Sith commentary or one of the DVD extras, he says that Anakin was the chosen one. And when he killed Palpatine in 6, Return of the Jedi, and sacrificed himself, that was him bringing the Force into balance. That was what George Lucas said in the DVD extras of Revenge of the Sith. And doing what they did in The Acolyte with these two characters and in the sequels with Rey, that moment has been completely ruined by Disney.
The witches essentially manipulated the Force into creating life, while Anakin was created by the Force itself. You can argue that this makes Anakin's birth less special, and that's fine. I personally disagree, but that's your opinion.
Of course you do. Of course you do. Again, go back to my example. If you were to watch The Acolyte first before watching the prequels, it would make Anakin's character in the prequels less special, less epic. It 100% would. And that's what Disney does. That's what Disney does.
I'm not here to debate that. Number 2, that's not how kyber crystal bleeding works. For those that don't know, kyber crystal bleeding is the canon explanation for red lightsabers, even though it was created by George Lucas well before the Disney buyout, during the production of Season 5 of The Clone Wars.
Oh, God.
It's been shown in...
Again, we were just talking about Dave Filoni. I guarantee that was a Dave Filoni thing. All of the media where there were red kyber crystals, red lightsaber crystals that turned lightsabers red. I seem to recall playing a few video games where you have to find, even some I believe that are in Disney canon, in the fake canon, in the Disney canon itself. Can't you make now? Is anyone in the chat who has played Jedi Survivor Fallen Order? Hasn't any of them? Can't you get red lightsaber crystals in those games and make your lightsabers red with a red crystal in those games? And that's technically Disney canon, bro. You know, Knights of the Old Republic, The Force Unleashed, Jedi Outcast, Jedi Knight, Jedi Academy. I don't recall bleeding lightsabers in any of those games.
Great detail 4 times. The first was in issue 5 of the Darth Vader comic, released in September. Sith Lords in history took long.
Anyway, it's really so stupid. It looks so fucking stupid. If that's the case, why? I have to ask the question: is this guy even? I wonder if this guy's going to talk about it. Why didn't, when Anakin was slaughtering children in Revenge of the Sith, why didn't his lightsaber bleed? Is there a Disney explanation for that?
Longer to bleed a crystal than Osha, a woman who had cut off the Force for a number of years. There's no official explanation, but using clues in both stories, we can get an idea. For starters, let's look at the lightsaber crystals they bled, and their relationships to these crystal owners. The crystal that Vader bled was owned by Kirak Ifila. I think I pronounced his name.
This is this guy, is this a Disney comic? Chat, does anyone know what this is?
Name differently this time, but oh well. An insanely powerful Jedi known for his combat skills.
Well, it's Vader. It looks like Vader's getting his ass kicked, so this is most likely a Disney comic. Yes, 100%. Charles Soule, the Piss Saver comic writer. Yep, there you go. There you go.
Who Vader is. Kyber crystals, by default, are filled with light side energy and aren't exactly fans of being bled by Darksiders. So if the number 2 Sith Lord in history were to try and bleed a crystal, I wouldn't be shocked if that crystal fought back just a little bit harder. The crystal that Osha bled belonged...
So, he's using Disney Comics canon, fake canon, to justify this. Again, are you going to talk about how Anakin never bled his crystal then when he was in the Jedi Temple murdering younglings for like 3 hours, 5 hours?
Soul was responsible for killing her very own mother. Feeling betrayed on an unbelievable scale, she murdered Soul, and then, while holding his lightsaber, which had an exposed crystal due to his recent duel with the Stranger, her hatred and anger for Soul accidentally bled the crystal. While Soul was...
It was accidentally? It was accidentally? Okay.
Towards himself, he was able to bleed it far easier than his grandfather. He did crack it though, which sucks, but he was able to get a cool ass lightsaber out of it, so.
Oh my god. Kylo Ren's lightsaber sucks dick. Kylo Ren sucks dick as well. Yes, J.A.I. Jacob. Kylo Ren sucks dick. Okay, I'm done. He doesn't even go into the numerous canon examples of dark side users with, again, dark side users with not red lightsabers. Not red. It's not red, chat. What's this one? How can there be fire in space? I think I'm going to skip that one. Why did Torben? I don't care. Why did Torben lose control? Okay, okay, I'm interested in this. I am very interested in this. So as you guys recall in the finale, when May like steals a ship and then Soul's chasing her on the ship, and Basil, that little rat looking thing, was attacking Osha in like the previous episode or the episode before, and then all of a sudden he doesn't want May or Master Soul to kill May for some reason. Let's see here.
From killing May. I'll admit this one's weird. They really should have had a scene explaining this, or at the very least a line acknowledging it. Basil preventing Soul from killing May is rather out of nowhere, but we can figure out at least 2 reasons as to why.
We can. Okay, interesting.
The first is that Pip is on board the ship with May, and Basil has been shown to be quite fond of the little droid. So if Soul blew up May's ship, Pip would be destroyed.
Oh, where's that explained in the show? Oh, okay. There you have it. He likes the little droid. He likes the little inanimate object that he just met, by the way. He likes the little droid out of the millions of droids.
The second reason, and the reason that I personally believe, is that Basil saw that Soul was about to kill an opponent who was running away. Something that the Jedi Order is not exactly very fond of. So Basil preventing Soul from killing may have been his way of keeping his friend from breaking the Jedi Code. Number 6. Why was Soul so insistent on recruiting May and Osha? I'll admit, Soul stalking the 2 girls on Brendock looks a little bit suspicious. But it's pretty clear why.
It looks a little sus, doesn't it? It looks a little like he needs to take a seat, doesn't it?
Soul feels a connection with the twins, or more so Osha, and that is, he doesn't. I mean, he eventually forms a connection with Osha.
Wait, what? I think he's just attracted to minors, honestly.
Feels a connection.
I mean, it's a show written by Leslie Headland. It makes sense. It's logical. It makes sense.
With the twins, or more so Osha, and that is, he doesn't. I mean, he eventually forms a connection with Osha, but at the time, he was just saying that. Whether or not he actually believed they had a connection is left in the air. Notice how in this
he was just saying that, and I think he was I think he wanted to let her touch his saber again, like you saw in that picture, man. It's a very strange argument this guy's trying to make.
Second flashback episode, it's revealed that Soul wants to have a Padawan, but his fellow Jedi Masters aren't super sure about him, with Master Indara saying that Soul...
He wants to have a Padawan. I bet he does.
Often confuses others' feelings with his own. He was also extremely certain that a Vergence in the Force was responsible for the life on Brendock, a planet that was believed to be uninhabitable. They spent quite a long time on Brendock, and they all wanted to go home. So
I couldn't help but notice that this guy doesn't even talk about the Sith have been extinct for a millennium. He doesn't even talk about the fact that the Sith existing in this show at all and the Jedi being aware of them, and how Soul does absolutely nothing outside after he has bad reception out of nowhere, does absolutely nothing to contact the Jedi and let them know, hey, there's a guy calling himself a Sith here. He just killed a bunch of Jedi. There's not a doesn't seem to be. Is there a segment on that and I just missed it? Nope. Not a segment on that. What a shock.
A planet that was believed to be uninhabitable. They spent quite a long time on Brendock, and they all wanted to go home. So it's not that crazy that Soul either made himself believe that he had a connection to the girls, or lied about the connection.
Okay, that is creepy and sus as fuck. Does this guy realize what he just said? First of all, what is that screenshot of Soul right there? Jesus Christ. But did this guy hear what literally what he just said?
Made himself believe that he had a connection to the girls, or lied about the connection in order to get a Padawan and prove that he's worthy of having one.
Either of those, I would recommend that he have a seat with Chris Hansen.
But also that this mission wasn't a waste of time, and that he was right. There was a vergence in the Force on the planet. Number 7, May couldn't have set the Coven's base on fire because...
So you're going to talk about this. You're going to talk about this, but you're not going to talk about the Sith have been extinct for a millennium and all the Jedi who run into Sith, and how Yoda could sense the death of the Jedi across the galaxy when Anakin turned to the dark side, but he couldn't sense anything here. I guess Yoda wasn't a full Jedi master yet, right? I guess Yoda wasn't OP the way he was in the prequels, I guess, right? I can't believe you're going to do a video. The Acolyte did not break canon, and you're ignoring the biggest break of all, is that the Sith have been extinct for a millennium, and that Sith interacted with the Jedi, and Leslie Headland wrote it in such a terrible way that it makes all of the characters look like complete retards. It makes Soul look like a complete fucking retard. The first thing Soul should have did was contact the Jedi Council. If he has no reception, he should have flown back to Coruscant. That's what a Jedi is supposed to do in that situation. But oh my God, he has to talk to May. Man, May, it's just so important that he talked to May. What's this next one here? Why does May change her allegiances so often? Because she's a shitty character.
That I want to go over is with May's allegiances. So let's go over her story real quick. May witnesses her mother being killed by Soul, and the rest of the Coven being killed by the other Jedi. She also believes that Soul killed her sister. She then comes into contact with the Stranger, who teaches her in the ways of the dark side so that she can get revenge on the people who killed her family. Years go by, it can't be burned.
Why is everything he's saying sound like he's asking a question?
Number 8. Why does May...
Wait. Oh, okay, it's the same one.
She then comes into contact with the Stranger, who teaches her in the ways of the dark side so that she can get revenge on the people who killed her family.
Why is everything you're saying sound like you're asking a question when you're supposed to be explaining why this doesn't break canon? Bruh.
Years go by, and she finds out that Osha is still alive, and that she's...
He did it again. Good Lord.
Still has family. Not wanting to fight a Wookiee without a weapon, and knowing that she still has family, she betrays the Stranger and decides to turn herself in. But the Stranger then kills Kelnaka, framing her for his death, and then tries to kill her, all while Jackie attacks May and tries to arrest her, refusing to hear her out.
Yeah, that's May's horrible character arc. This is just, I guess this is peak writing. Yes, Melissa, I agree with Melissa. Never let this guy do audiobooks. Every sentence would be a question.
Osha joined the Jedi for a period of time and still has a connection to them, wanting to free her sister from the people that she blames for the rest of their family's deaths. She swaps places with Osha and tries to kill Osha's last connection to the Jedi, who is, coincidentally, the man who killed her mother. It's very clear to me that May's allegiances were never with the Sith. They were always with her family, and she was willing to do anything to protect her family. This is even further shown.
I just I can't even get over just the tone of the voice and everything. Like, May's connection was with her family. Like, okay, I thought she wanted to become an acolyte, though. She wanted to become a Sith. I don't know. What's this next one? Osha shouldn't have survived the crash. I don't even remember. Okay, let's get into the Ki-Adi-Mundi thing. This is I'm very curious how he's gonna go pull out his inner Star Wars sex-splained here.
Number 10. Ki-Adi-Mundi shouldn't be alive. In episode 4 of The Acolyte,
shouldn't be alive. Ki-Adi-Mundi shouldn't be alive.
Ki-Adi-Mundi shows up briefly, and this little cameo made a lot of people mad, because Mundi's species, a Saurian, isn't supposed to be able to live for centuries. This is confirmed in the book Ultimate Alien Anthology, a source book to a Star Wars pen and paper RPG from 2003.
I wonder if he's going to say, chat, is he going to say Wedgens? Is he going to say Wedgens in this explanation? Let's see if I know the Shills better than they know themselves.
A source that hasn't been canon in over a decade.
Oh.
Yes, this is technically a retcon in the wider franchise, but in canon, there wasn't anything saying that they couldn't. I mean, there are species with a very low birth.
There was those playing cards. There was those playing cards that were released in along with the Phantom Menace and Attack of the Clones, I believe, that stated Ki-Adi-Mundi's age, and it was like, what was it? It was like 80 something, 70 something. I forget what it was exactly. It is a retcon. It's 100% a retcon. 100%. They changed. Wikipedia had his age, had his original age. And then when the episode aired, they went back and changed it. They had his original age because that was the canon. That was G canon. And then they came in and changed it. Again, something that Dave Filoni allowed through.
Birth rate. So I don't think it's that crazy of an idea that they can live for quite a while. But there's another issue here, and that's Ki-Adi-Mundi's birthday. In Legends, Ki-Adi-Mundi...
Oh, there it was. He said it. I knew he was going to say, this is a blind. I'm going in blind, chat. I've gone in with this blind today. I knew he was going to say fucking Wedgens. I knew he was going to fucking say it. It was Wedgens. Disney decanonized Wedgens so they can do whatever the fuck they want. All right, how about Mace Windu? Yeah, again, like, here's an example that we use in the Gatekeepers Alliance. How about Mace Windu's 200 years old? Let's just change, let's change everything. Let's change genders. Let's make him a woman. Here's a good question. What if they made what if Ki-Adi-Mundi was a woman in this and he transitioned into a man in time for the prequels? Would that be acceptable to these people? Well, he was a man in Wedgens. He was a man. He was a biological male in Wedgens. It's okay. Right? Right? God, I knew he was going to say Wedgens.
And that's Ki-Adi-Mundi's birthday. In Legends, Ki-Adi-Mundi was stated to be born in 93 BBY, and since the Acolyte takes place in 132 BBY, his
I mean, bro, that's like 150 years, bro. That's like, it's not even it's not even where, like, it's not even like, okay, it's a decade, it's a couple decades off, it's not a huge deal. It's fucking like, it's like 100 years.
appearance shouldn't be possible, and this is true in Legends. Again, the only
In Legends, because Disney canon is better than Legends, right?
source talking about Mundy's birthday was in Legends, and honestly, the source behind this statement was already barely canon to Legends. His
It's barely canon. It's barely canon, chat. Well, there's a new one. There's a new one. It's barely canon. You know what? It's barely canon in this show, because all Ki-Adi-Mundi is there for is a fucking cheap cameo to get the Disney shills to clap their fucking retard hands. It's barely canon in Disney. It's more canon in the expanded universe and in George Lucas canon than it is in the fake Disney canon, bro.
birth year was stated in the, well, not game, but a computer program called Star Wars Episode 1 Insider's Guide,
which is which is like, yeah, it's like an encyclopedia for the fans. That's basically what that is. It's a encyclopedia, it's an insider's guide, it's information, it's character bios, it's all that shit for fans going into the movie. And it had his age on it because that was the canon.
program called Star Wars Episode 1 Insider's Guide, a promotional CD-ROM.
Just keep shouting Wedgens all over and over again, and then that's your point.
People watch trailers for the film and look at lore bits from the film. This obscure virtual reference book is the only time Mundy's birth year was ever mentioned.
Nope, there were some playing card. Like I said, I showed them in one of my Acolyte videos. It's there. There were playing card decks. There were or was it playing cards, or was it kind of just like a character card or something that had his age on it? There were multiple ones that had his age on it.
So him having a new one in canon, I personally don't think is a big deal. I mean, I guess you can think it's a big deal. I'm not going to take that from you, obviously. But since all this stuff is not canon to canon, the Acolyte didn't actually break canon. No.
Oh, yeah. Uh-huh. Yeah, they could just change everything. Let's just change everything, Just change everything. They can change whatever the shit that they want. Yes, Disney canon is not canon. Disney Star Wars is fake Star Wars. And this show did multiple things. And again, we're not even talking about somehow the Sith returned or the Sith have been extinct for a millennium. That's the biggest canon break of them all.
On it. This video was just made to debunk some arguments about the show breaking canon.
And you ignored the biggest one. And that's fascinating. I can't believe he ignored the biggest one.
I myself don't even love the show. I mean, I like it, but I'd give it like a 7 out of 10.
Yes! 7 out of 10. Yes, thank you. That just made. We're gonna end on that wonderful note. 7 out of 10, baby. Of course, 7 out of 10. A very safe number. I'm not a shill by giving it a 7 out of 10, but I'm not a toxic gwifta either by giving it a 7 out of pow, baby. 7 out of 10. Pow. We need Neil in here for that. Maybe he's a friend of Neil's.